What's going on, guys? My name is Jack Christensen, and I'm the owner and founder of True Zenith Creative right there. And today I'm going to be teaching you how to sell. These 5 tips, these are the top 5 tips to 10x your sales in 2023. So let's get into it. Okay. Tip number 1 is talk less. I know a lot of people think sales guys, they can talk. And while it's true, you have to be able to communicate well. Sales is much more about listening than it is about talking, right? You don't want to be there just talking all the time. Because if you're talking all the time, you can't build rapport. You can't figure out the client's pain points. There's a lot of things you can't do. So there's a good rule of thumb in sales. It's you should be talking 30% of the time. And you should be listening 70% of the time. So one of the ways that I did this one of the ways I learned how to do this, and one of the tools I used, is I used a recorder on my phone, just put it in my pocket, and listened to, and recorded the entire conversation and listened to how much I was talking versus how much the other person was talking. Then I timed it. I timed the amount of time I was talking, timed the amount of time the potential client was talking. And I kept doing that until I got down to 30% of me talking, right? And now I do it, it's just natural, right? You build that habit. So that's number 1, is talk less. I promise it will work. Number 2 is build rapport first. Guys, you don't, if you're messaging potential clients on LinkedIn, you just, the worst thing you can do is just say, hey, I work for XYZ company. We do this, this, and this, right? I get hundreds of LinkedIn messages, sometimes thousands of LinkedIn messages every single month. And if it just goes right into selling, I don't even read the entire message. And if I get paragraphs on paragraphs of messages, this is the same for cold emailing, anything. Same thing with cold calling. It's just, you don't just go directly into selling. The key is building rapport first, right? So especially if you're selling on social media, which a ton of people are, don't just go right into selling. Start interacting with the stuff they're posting, comment, build value with the person before you even talk about what you do in selling, okay? So step 1 is build rapport, and do it more than you think you should, okay? Step number 3 seems obvious, or not step number 3, but tip number 3. Seems obvious, but a lot of people don't do it. I have to teach a lot of my sales guys to do this. You actually have to ask for the sale, right? So after you're done with your presentation or your conversation or whatever you're trying to sell, you have to ask them. Be like, so are you ready to move forward? And there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, and there's a bunch of different types of closes you can do. And we'll go over different closes in some other videos. But tip number 3 is actually ask for the sale every time. Even if you think they're going to say no, still ask. Because then after you ask, even if they do say no, well, now you figured out, you can ask why. That you can ask what the objections are, right? And then you can start solving for those objections and then ask for the sale again. And you should be asking for the sale a couple times every single time you're on the phone with the people if it's a sales conversation. Because almost never are they going to do it first. And by the way, if they do say yes, say nothing. Don't say anything else. Once they say yes, take their payment information and get the money, right? Shut your mouth and that's it, right? I've had sales guys lose sales because the client says they're ready to buy, and then they keep talking, and then the client hears something that they don't want, and then they lose the sale. We ended up getting it, the couple times this happened, we ended up getting it a couple weeks later, but once they say they're ready to buy, shut your mouth. That's it. Take the money. Good. Okay. Step number 4, bring out the pain points and then focus on the results that your product or service will provide. What I mean by that is in the rapport building and in this conversation you should be having, your goal is to determine what issues they are having and then make them emotionally respond to why that's painful for them, whether it's they're losing money, they could be making more money, they're losing their time, they are not sleeping enough, whatever it might be. Figure out what the pain points are and how your product or service can solve it. So focus on those pain points, then focus on the result. So yeah, with this service, you're going to make, 200 extra money or whatever, right? That's ridiculous. But whatever your service or product is supposed to solve for, figure out why it's painful for them, and then don't focus on the cost of your product. Don't focus on what your product is even. Focus on the result that they're going to have. More money, more sleep, more time, or whatever, right? Focus on the result, not the product itself. You're selling the result. You're not selling the product. And tip number 5 is the after sales process. And this is huge for your sales pipeline. It's 2 things, specifically 2 things, referrals and cross sells. And I don't say upsells because upselling you should be doing in the initial sales process. So after they're already a customer and after they're pleased with your product or service, ask for referrals, especially in the professional selling world. You're selling business to business. It's huge. Referrals are an awesome way to make a ton more money. And then cross sells. Once they're happy with one of your services or products, come back, circle back to them, and then offer them other products and services. This is what my business is built on, is cross-selling. We first focus on selling them a website that converts well and looks amazing and does a whole bunch of things, solves a whole bunch of pain points for each client, right? And then after they have that, then we tie in SEO, search engine optimization. Hey, your webpage is awesome. Now let's get some organic traffic coming to it, which can take 6 months to a year, but it's awesome because it's organic and it's worth a shitload of money if you do SEO, right? And then also we have digital marketing, which will drive traffic to your website immediately. It's direct response marketing. And so first we sell the website, which gives us cash infusion up front. And then we cross-sell SEO and digital marketing, which is a monthly service that they pay us for. So we get large cash flow up front, and then we get monthly recurring revenue from each of the clients as well. And so it's the same thing. Whatever your products are selling, figure out how to cross-sell them down the road. So it's referrals and cross-selling. So again, the 5 tips are: talk less, build rapport first, and do it more than you think you probably should. Don't forget to ask for the sale is number 3. Like, you want them to pay you, you better ask, right? Most people aren't just going to hand you money. Tip number 4 is to bring out the pain points. And then once you have that, focus on how your product or service, focus on the result that will decrease that pain for them, right? So focus on the result, not the product itself. And then tip number 5 is the after sales process. Focus on referrals and cross-selling your existing clients. Those are the 5 tips to focus on in 2023 to grow your either sales specific pipeline for you as a salesperson or for you as a business owner. Do those things, 10x your sales right now.